Morning, everybody. The question in this video is, will February turn colder? And I think it will. And we're going to take a look at a few long-range weather models. First of all, we're going to take a look at Weatherbell. They have a plethora of just good modeling. So we're going to take a look at their site first, and then see if we can find a few other things. Okay. We're going to take a look at the European weekly model, and let's take a look at that. So let's take a look at our um, surface temperatures in the next 46 days. So again, this has warm for the eastern half of the USA. Let's take a look at, let's see, days 0 through 32. I want to kind of chunk this out a little bit and see if I can go 7 days. Here we go. Let's do this. So here you can see it gets progressively colder. So towards the end of January into February, again, we're seeing a cooling trend. Okay, so the models are starting to get colder, so they're catching on to something that's happening in the atmosphere, I believe. Let's take a look at a different computer model because we want to mix this up a little bit. Let's take a look at our CFS V2. Take a look at days. Let's let this load a little bit. There we go. Yeah, days. Let's see, what is this? Day 0 to 30. So let's do the same thing we did for the Euro Weekly. Let's kind of chunk this up a little bit. Unfortunately, it won't move. But as you can see, again, it's catching on to cold here in the southeast USA. So we do have some alignment in the modeling that we will see some significant cold. They're starting to pick that up in terms of February. Um, Now, I don't want to just give you that information and not give you a reason behind it, because that's called hype and wish casting, at least in my opinion. My opinion. So let's take a look at the NAO. The NAO tries to go negative, so that's a good indicator. Right now, it overall it looks fuzzy, but we do have a general alignment that things are tending in the right direction. Let's take a look at our PNA. In other words, it's a forecast because, there's no certainty. I won't tell you that we're going to have a cold and snowy February, but I will say the factors are starting to align that way. So again, the PNA popping positive, which is a good signal for cold. Let's take a look at our medium range forecast. Let's take a look at the GFS for the next 2 weeks and kind of loop this a little speed. We're going to kind of fast forward through this. So, again, it's going to be up and down. There's going to be some heat waves here, some milder air in the next 15 days. And it's really going to be a fight. It's going to be a fight between the warmth and cold, but I do believe that the cold will win. The cold will win by about February. So again, that's just what I'm basing it off of, based off the current signals we have in the atmosphere right now. Let's take a look at our MJO outlook, because that's a big one in terms of forecasting the weather in long range and even in medium range. Let's take a look at our MJO forecast. Let's see. So, okay, so the MJO is going into phases 1, 2, and 3. So it's starting to recycle itself again where it was earlier this winter, back in December, which is kind of where we had that cold. So again, we're seeing another signal that's going to give us some cold air, which is good. Let's take a look at, let's see, MJO. Let's go back here. We're gonna try to look for a sudden stratospheric warming event in the next few weeks. Keep our eyes on that, because that can happen in January and in February. And if it does happen, that usually signals cold the following 30 to 45 days. So we're gonna have to keep our eyes on that. Let's take a look at that though right here. Let's go to let's see where There's so many. Okay, here it is. So here we go. We want to keep our eyes on the red here on the map, and right there we're starting to configure with some high pressure in the North Polar region, which is indicative of, again, a sudden stratospheric warming event. So again, we're starting to see this pattern set up for cold in February. So I'm all green light for us having a very cold and snowy February. I think it'll start in January. I think the pattern will start to, especially the end of January. I think it's going to be a totally different picture in terms of the pattern right now. We're in a mild pattern, but I'd say by January 25th is really where things will turn around, and into February, I think we're going to have a very cold and snowy pattern, probably coast to coast, cold and snow. But it depends if we get the P&A to bounce positive, because if that happens, then that will create warmth in the west and more cold in the east. It'll amplify the cold in the east. Whereas if we got a negative PNA and a negative NA, it would be more coast to coast cold, but it would be less, to a lesser degree of cold. It wouldn't be as cold as if we got the positive PNA and the negative NAO. So um, all right, just want to say that, do this little brief update. And again, I think February is going to be an interesting month. That's my prediction as of now. I think February is going to be very interesting in terms of, uh, I think it could be, I don't want to hype, but I'm just going to put this out there. It could be brutally cold and snowy. So keep that in mind, and make sure you like, comment, and share, and share my updates from our long range weather content. Thank you all for watching, and have a great day, and peace.